Russia itself also abstained from voting at that point of time, opening the way for Western intervention in Libya. Though, this fact, this is also a fact. At that point in 2010, Prime Minister Putin was against, of course, against Western intervention, and he perhaps wanted a different kind of voting in the United Nations Security Council. But the then President Medvedev wanted something else. I think there was a contradiction between the Prime Minister and President. Finally, Russia unwittingly, virtually, opened the door for Western intervention in Libya. So, and Russia also learned a lesson out of this. So that is the reason when the Syrian issue came, of course, Russia took a very firm stand. And though Russian economy is not the largest economy in BRICS, but as Professor Sahni said, it has a legacy of global power, being global power for centuries now. So that's why, once it so happened, I asked the Chinese foreign minister, why do you always try to follow the Russians? Your economy is so large, many times larger than Russian economy. So I don't know. He said this. Suddenly we have grown very big, like a young boy, but we don't have the experience of handling ourselves. So maybe it was a joke, but nevertheless he said that. And if you look at the Chinese voting patterns also in the United Nations Security Council, you will see they would follow the Russians. They won't take the lead. So this happened also in Syrian case. So they vetoed against the UN resolution, and which was followed by our abstention on Syrian issue. That is how the Western intervention in Syria has been blocked. So the point that I want to make is, first of all, these countries are having similar views on all major international as well as regional issues, be it Iran, be it Iraq, be it Libya, be it Syria, be it Afghanistan, be it terrorism. So if you look at the national foreign policies of these countries, you will see this. And in the political statements, joint statements issued at the end of the summits, you will see increasingly these issues take place, these issues figured in the statement, and the BRICS countries have a common position on these important international and regional issues. I'm sure in the coming years, the economic as well as the political component of BRICS definitely is going to grow. First of all, of course, as Professor Sahni said, of course, there has to be some kind of expansion for the simple reason, before the end of Cold War, before Soviet collapse, there was different other mechanisms. Non-aligned movement was there, which was there to defend the interest of the third world countries, the developing countries. But unfortunately, after the Soviet breakup and the end of Cold War, there was no mechanism in the world to defend the interest of developing countries. So my view is BRICS would be definitely going to defend the interest of not only BRICS countries, they would be defending the interest of the entire developing world. As they say, perhaps a kind of global structure is emerging, which is West and the rest. And the BRICS countries would be going to represent the interests of the rest. And of course, regarding the secretariat that Professor Sahni was talking about, there is a virtual secretariat right now. But I think in course of time there has to be some kind of real physical secretariat. And perhaps, I'm more than sure, as they say, Rome was not built in one day. So that's why, but BRICS is the fastest growing international organization in the history of international relations. So you have to see from this point of view. And all these BRICS summits, you look at the BRICS summits, they have overreach countries also participating. When it was in South Africa, the African countries took part. When it was in Brazil, the Latin American countries took part in it. And when it happened in UFA, the former Soviet republics, they took part in it. So I don't know what would be the overreach component of the Delhi summit, but we have to see. I think some kind of participation would be there. So that is a challenge for us. But the point that I want to make is BRICS is going to defend not only the interest of the BRICS countries or the emerging countries, it is going to defend the interest of the non-West, the entire developing world. The last thing, for people who have some kind of suspicion or doubt about BRICS potential, you look at, right now, if global you talk about global economic affairs or financial affairs, it is G20 which rules the roost, which makes the rules. So it is not G7 or it is definitely G20 which makes the rules. So on the eve of each G20 summit, the BRICS countries have their own mini summit. It is not a summit, but they have a meeting of the leaders, and they coordinate their position, how they would behave, they conduct themselves, or what issues they would highlight in the G20. That's why the point that I want to make is that slowly you can see the BRICS countries are becoming the norm setter in global affairs. And then, of course, I'm not going to blame anybody. When UFA summit took place, I was looking to the US and European press as if nothing has happened. No political event has happened. There was hardly any coverage about UFA. It is, what is said. It is a turning point in history, you can say, in many ways, because these two summits were taking place. UFA was the BRICS summit was taking place, ASEAN summit was taking place. In a way, you can say Eurasian Economic Union summit was taking place. It is a very important global political event. But the coverage in the European and American press was very meager. So the point that I want to make is the interaction between the BRICS countries not only at the level of summit, the interaction is at the level of heads of the banks, central banks, reserve banks. The interaction at the level of your commerce ministers, economic ministers, health ministers, agriculture ministers. Then increasingly, of course, there is economic component that Russia has been pushing through. Now Russia has proposed that there will be energy strategy in the BRICS. Russia is talking about cooperation in the manufacturing sector. Russia is talking about cooperation in the infrastructure development. So slowly the economic component is also going to grow in BRICS. So my conclusion is, when people say, no, we won't have to even now put this question whether BRICS is going to put a challenge to US or not. It is already challenging the US hegemony, and perhaps in coming years and decades, BRICS role would be much bigger, much effective, much active, and 21st century global setup structure would be set by the politics of BRICS. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and really you've been